Hi, my name is Nick. I am the Leap Maker Mentor at the Field Teen Center of the Free Library of Philadelphia, and welcome to our YouTube channel. I wanted to create a little introduction by sharing with you guys some of my favorite books from when I was a teen. So obviously I have a lot of books. Not all of them are in the shot. I have too many bookshelves, but I love reading, and I have held on to some of my favorites over the years because it's always nice to go back and return to some of the things that you've read before, and I really just like the memories associated with reading books and enjoying all the different stories that you can experience through reading. So I have a selection of 5 books today, and I hope that maybe you might enjoy them as much as I do. So if you do, leave a comment and I'll be happy to, talk books with you, and we can share our excitement together. So let's see. My first choice is it's one of many different translations of this text, but it's a story that really resonated with me. It is a collection of epic poetry from Finland. It is called the Kalevala. So the Calavala is a bunch of oral stories that were told over decades and even hundreds of years. It is the story of a hero named Duane who goes on this grand adventure with a bunch of other people who he befriends, and they're all pretty separate stories, but there's also a larger storyline that goes through it. And obviously, as oral poetry, it's not really just one story, it's many stories. It's basically the story that the people came up with and passed on, just telling, around the fire, and as they felt like they needed to experience a story. It was before everything was written down, and there's lots of different retellings of it available out there. This is my favorite translation, which is the one by Francis Peabody Magoun Jr. But yeah, if you ever want to check out some, mythology, oral poetry, historical stories, then I definitely recommend the Calavala. It's a great time. The rest of the books that I have are a little bit more modern, so I'll start with one that I own. Actually, it's an ex-library copy that I got secondhand, but I originally read this from the library and I had to own it because I enjoyed it so much. It's called The 13.5 Lives of Captain Bluebear, and obviously this is Captain Bluebear there. It is by Walter Moers, so it was originally not in English, it was translated into English, but it is a wild tale of about half of this bear's life, from growing up and living with pirates from some time to just going on adventures and experiencing lots of new things in his various lives. It also has a lot of illustrations in it, and while it is an adult book, or like for older readers at least, it has that whimsy that's associated with a lot of the books that you used to read when you were younger, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate being able to sit and have things from both worlds. It really gave me a lot of joy when I read it the first time, so I'm very happy that I have a copy that I can read myself and that I can share with my friends and just share that love of, a wild story that just makes you happy. My next book is a classic. It has been adapted into a lot of different media, so you might have heard of this title before, but it is the first part of a 5-part trilogy called The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's by Douglas Adams. It's about a man called Arthur Dent who manages to escape the Earth once it was destined for complete destruction, and he travels around the galaxy to, once again, I like sort of freeform adventures where you would explore places, and this is a really funny and well-written book. This is actually a very old copy because I read it when I was very young, and it sort of made an impression on me as this young person, just to start finding humor in really normal or even absurd things about average daily life. And it really sparked my love of sci-fi in particular. So I recommend reading this series, or at least watching perhaps one of the movies or television series that are out there, because it's a good story whether you like to read or listen or, you know, even watch. Another sci-fi book that I really like, I love the series Star Trek, and one of my favorite things is all of the fan works that arise because of it, and because of all types of media in general. But I have a collection of old vintage Star Trek novels, and this is one by my favorite author, Duane. It's called My Enemy, My Ally. It is a story about the Romulans, and it is taking place in the original series era, but it's an example of a whole swath of books that I really enjoy, and they range from really well written to really hokey and silly, and it's always a good time, and you can find something that really suits your mood. So I really love vintage, officially licensed fan fiction, I guess I would call it. And this is a really great example of a well-written book that explores a bit of the Star Trek universe that we haven't originally seen in the series. So that's why I really like this. My last choice is technically a children's book, but it is a series that I would recommend to any age group because the characters start out rather young, but they grow up as the series goes along, and they start facing more serious issues, including, you know, moral issue, ethical issues, and all sorts of things where they need to grow as people. And you can really get something out of it at any age group, whether you're a child, a teen, or even an adult. You can really enjoy these books and find some sort of new meaning in it. It is also by Diane. It is the Young Wizard series, the first of which is this one, So You Want to Be a Wizard. And this is a very old cover. This is actually my childhood copy of this book, and I really enjoy it. It follows two kids who are the main characters. There is Nita and Kit, and Nita finds the book So You Want to Be a Wizard in the library. She takes it out, and when she brings it home, she ends up becoming a wizard by reading this oath that's in the book and taking this oath. And then she ends up having to go on an ordeal in order to, you know, figure out, become a full-fledged wizard. And she ends up meeting Kit along the way and making friends. And this whole series follows them and the people around them as they face very serious issues in order to keep the world going for another day. And it's one of my favorite series of all time that I will always recommend to anybody who's into fantasy and looking for something pretty interesting to read that has a lot of deeper meanings and implications in there. But yeah, those were a couple of my favorite books. I obviously had a lot more favorite books, but it's a little taste, a little introduction to who I am, what I like, and yeah, I'll be around on this YouTube channel making some of the videos, and if you enjoyed any of these books, you should leave a comment, tell us, so that we can chat.